Hello and welcome to the Job and Internship Fair Success webinar presented by the SJSU Career Center. My name is Anita Manuel. I'm the Associate Director at the Career Center and I will be your host for this webinar today. So in this webinar, we'll be focusing on a few key points to help you prepare for our Career Fair season, which is now all virtually run. We'll first go over how to find the virtual fairs using SJSU Handshake and then registering for the fairs that are right for you. We'll then review how to research employers so that you feel prepared when you're meeting those recruiters in your sessions. We'll help you figure out what you want to say and develop your story so that you're able to be memorable and make an impact in the meeting time that you have with employers. We'll talk about some logistics about attending a virtual fair, and then we'll finish up with how to best follow up and continue connecting with employers after the fair. So first step, finding and registering for fairs. So this is our virtual fair schedule for fall. As you can see, we have 5 upcoming virtual fairs, and they will all be listed on Handshake. The first fair that will be coming up is September 1st. That's our part-time job fair. As you'll notice, each fair has a registration period, so that registration is now open. And each fair has qualifications. So certain fairs are targeted to certain majors, as well as class levels. Some are for undergraduates and some are for graduate students. So when you log into Handshake and look at the events listed for fairs, be sure to pay close attention to the registration dates when they open, as well as the qualifications for the fairs. The part-time fair, September 1st, is currently open to all currently enrolled students. And there are still sessions open, so you can register now until the day of the actual fair. The next fair that will be hosted this semester is our STEM undergraduate fair. So that's science, technology, engineering, math. And that will be open to all undergraduate engineering, science, and MIS majors. The third fair for the semester will be our STEM graduate job and internship fair on September 24th. And that will be focused on graduate students in the science, technology, engineering, math fields. This is an invitation-only event. So those students who qualify for the event will receive an invitation via email from the Handshake system. The next fair will be the Business, Financial Services, and Logistics Fair, September 29th. And this is open to all currently enrolled students of non-STEM majors. So basically College of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts, business, any areas that are more of the non-technical majors will be able to attend this fair. And then our last fair will be our Health and Human Service Job Fair, which is October 8th, and that will be open to all currently enrolled students. So once you have an idea of the fair or fairs that you might want to attend, it's time to actually register for those events. So you can register through Handshake. The login is sjsu.joinhandshake.com. You can also access logging in from our website, which is sjsu.edu/career center, and click on the resources tab. Or a third option is you can go to one.sjsu, and then in the search bar, just type Handshake. The single sign-on option will come up. You'll use your 9-digit tower card number, ID number, and your password that you use for single sign-on. And that will actually give you access to all of our apps as well. When you log in, this is what your homepage will look like, and there are various tabs listed for different functions of the platform, and you're going to go to the Events tab. Once you click on Events, you'll see additional options in your menu bar, and you'll click Career Fairs so that you can see just the virtual fairs for the semester. And then once you click on that, you'll see the upcoming events. They'll have the title of the event as well as the date. And you'll just click on the title of the event that you're interested in attending, and it will bring up the registration page. So in this example, I've picked the part-time virtual fair because it's the first one. It gives me a short descriptor of what this fair is about, and then the logistics of the date and time. And I'm going to click on register for this event. So it's the blue register button in the top corner there. And when I do that, it'll actually bring up a pop-up menu. And this window comes up if my profile visibility settings need to be updated. So in the virtual fair environment, employers have two options to meet with students. One is in one-on-one sessions, where it's 10-minute sessions between yourself and the recruiter or employer, or group sessions, in which an employer can actually do almost like a mini webinar information session within the Handshake platform, giving an overview of their organization and the types of positions they're hiring for, and multiple students can attend those sessions at one time. And then in the group session, there is an opportunity for Q&A and chat with those recruiters once they finish kind of giving their overview. So my setting right now in Handshake as a student is on private, meaning no one can see my profile. But if I want to participate in the fairs, I either have to select the community setting for my profile or the employer setting. If you'd like to be able to register for group sessions, you must select the community setting. If you're only interested in the one-on-one sessions with employers, then you can go ahead and just select the employer setting. Once I select my setting, it will then allow me to click through the different appointment times with the employers that I'm interested in meeting. So in this case, when I clicked into the employer, it will bring up the recruiters who will be at the event, so their names, their job titles, and then the appointment times they have open for one-on-one sessions. So in this case, I'm only wanting to do one-on-one sessions, so I will go ahead and click on the time that's most convenient for me. And once I click on that time, Handshake will actually confirm it and create my job fair schedule. So the next time that you log into the Handshake app and you look at events, for you, you'll see the appointments that you've already scheduled and the dates and times. And that's what you'll actually click on when you want to start your session with the employer on the day of the event. Now, sometimes there are employers who have not listed all of their sessions yet, or there's no ability to click and register for a session. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of the sessions are full. What that does mean is that the employer may not have posted all of their available sessions yet. So employers are actually able to add sessions, whether it's one-on-one or group sessions, until the day of the fair. So what you want to do is make sure that as soon as those fair registration times open, that you come in and register immediately, because the sessions are filled up by a first come, first served basis. Remember that employers can add new sessions daily all the way till the day of the fair. So be sure to check frequently on your job fair page for new openings. And then finally, if there are no openings, click on the employer icon. So for example, in this case, if I'm interested in Apple, I don't see any open registration slots for them. If I click on their icon, it will take me to their company page in Handshake. I can apply to any open positions, which you should, because that means they're actively recruiting for those open positions. Second piece is to research employers before you actually have that meeting with them. So a couple key questions or points that you want to make sure you have in mind as you start doing your research. One, what positions are they actually hiring for? If you're in Handshake already and you click on that employer, it will take you to their profile page. You can see the listed positions they have. Click on that and read the job description. So that's really easy. But if you go to their website and you look at their About Us or Careers page, you can also see more positions that might be posted beyond what's on Handshake, or get a good flavor for the areas that they seem to be recruiting most in. You also want to look at those job descriptions for key skills and qualifications. This is actually going to be your guide to highlighting what skills and qualifications you have that match what the job description is asking for. And that's a quick way to know what you want to highlight in your introduction to employers when you meet with them in your sessions. What is this company organization best known for? Have they had any awards? What's their reputation like in the field? Any press or news articles? In addition to looking at LinkedIn for some of this information, following a company's Twitter feed is also a good way to get some updates on news and relevant events that are happening within that organization. What's the company culture like? This is really important to speak to how you might be a good fit for the organization or become a good member of that team. What alumni work at the company? So this is great to see what fellow Spartans are already within that organization, what they studied, what organizations and clubs they belong to, just to give you a good idea of the types of profiles our Spartans have within a specific organization. And then really important, even if it's going to the website and just looking over the mission and vision and values of a company, this really speaks to what's most important to that organization. And if you can connect that with your own values and what's important to you in work, that can help bridge a kind of good conversation around fit. What services, products does the company make or offer? Who are their clients? Who are their competitors? While you may not directly talk about this in your first one-on-one session, it's just good to know, in addition to what they make, who are those other organizations or companies that they compete with in the market? And finally, once you have those questions outlined, then you're going to actually use those to determine what data you want to collect in your research. So today we're going to focus on just two main platforms that are really easy to use, LinkedIn and Handshake. So for LinkedIn, you're just going to go to the LinkedIn website, linkedin.com. You do not have to create an account. Please don't buy a Premier account. You don't have to pay for any additional services to do basic research, networking, and having a profile on LinkedIn. We are not going to go into best practices for creating a LinkedIn profile or networking strategies in this particular webinar, but we will share resources where you can find that information. But today we're just looking at LinkedIn for research. So if you go into the LinkedIn page and in the top search bar, you type in the company that you're interested in learning more about. In this example, I'm picking Google. You'll look at the list of options and you'll pick the company page. This is an example of what Google's company page looks like on LinkedIn. A couple key features to keep in mind. It's very visual, so it's great if you're trying to get an idea for who works there and that culture piece, because there is a lot of media that can be added to the LinkedIn profile. You'll want to follow this company. So all companies that you're really interested in, start following them on LinkedIn. If that's the very least that you do, it will be helpful because it will actually update your feed in LinkedIn to get news and updates from those companies specifically. The other reason this is helpful is because recruiters on LinkedIn, when they're looking for candidates, can actually conduct searches by those who are already following their company. So for example, if I am a recruiter and I'm looking for people that I want who already have an interest, who I think are passionate about my organization, beyond just the job, but really care about what I'm doing as a company, I'm assuming that those people are the people who are following my company already and are interested in my page. So you can actually search by those who are following companies. And so that's a quick way for you to kind of get more easily found by recruiters just by simply following the company of interest. Of course, on the left-hand side, there's the About Us, Life. So a little bit more about what culture and life is like at that organization, jobs, if there's anything open right now, and then people, to get a look at the types of people who already work there. And what's great is because LinkedIn is a social media app in the sense that they can add a lot of media. If there's updates as far as, for example, new videos, you can see those right away, and they're much more interactive and interesting. So for example, this was a recent video that was just posted on their page, and the cloud team is actually hiring. They're looking for customer engineers right now. So if you're interested, they're actually giving you the name of one of the employees and their team and how you can go and click to apply to those positions. if you watch this video and then you're meeting with the recruiter, you can actually speak to that in part of your introduction. I was so excited actually about your recent video that you posted on your LinkedIn page that your cloud team is hiring. And I really loved how in the video it really talked about team dynamics or whatever it is that kind of was impressive to you. But if you bring that up, that's going to be impressive to the recruiter because maybe lots of other candidates haven't even done that level of research or even have an idea that there is a cloud team that's recruiting. So this is why I think LinkedIn's an easy way to get some good information about companies. The second feature that's good for company research is actually doing an alumni search. So on LinkedIn, you can also look at all of our alumni from San Jose State and see where they're working. So in this case, in the search bar, this time I'm going to type in our university. So San Jose State, you'll pick the school page. So that's the first one that comes up on our search. This is what our alumni page looks like. You can see that we have more than 250,000 alumni that are registered and on LinkedIn. So you already have a great network of fellow Spartans, which is awesome. And then what you're going to do is click on the alumni tab on the left-hand side of the menu. What that allows you to do is actually search the alumni by a lot of different criteria. But today we want to search just by companies because we're really interested in learning more about the people and alumni that work at companies that are of interest to you. So in this example, I'm just going to pick Cisco. I can type Cisco into this search bar and then it will bring up the 2,000 plus people that are alumni from our university that work at Cisco. The other way to do this is if you look at the where they work section. Cisco happens to be one of the larger employers in our area for our alumni. So they're actually the top 3 of employers that hire our students and our alumni. So I could also just click on Cisco in that tab and it would bring me to the same information. When I click into the Cisco and I hit tab, or if I hit return on that search, it'll bring up all the profiles. So this is a snapshot of what those profile tabs look like. And what's great about this is I can immediately see obviously what these people look like, which is great. Having a visual is always nice way to kind of feel connected to someone, their title, and then when they graduated and what they majored in. So at the very least, this can give you some ideas of what people have done with majors that might be similar to you, the types of jobs that they're pursuing, and giving you an insight into what might be common or trends between these alumni and that particular company. So when you look at these profiles, again, you don't have to connect with anyone, you don't have to do any outreach, you're just looking at their profiles. You're looking at education, their job titles, you can see their career path, if they started as interns and all the way up to where they are now. They'll probably have a skills summary, which is really important to see the top skills that they use in their field, which could also be skills that you want to highlight. In their summary, they'll probably have a good overview of why they're passionate about the work that they do or the organization they work with. And then keep in mind, this could be a possible future connection for you. So even if you're not actively ready to reach out now, knowing how to find these alumni is a great first step to when you are ready to do some outreach and connect with alumni for potential informational interviews or a coffee chat or a virtual chat to learn more about their career pathways. And definitely search for the recruiters that you'll be meeting with at the fairs because you can get some more insight about them as well. The other resource that's really easy for research is Handshake itself. If you're already in the platform, you're already registered, you click on the company link, it'll take you to their page. What's great about their company page on Handshake is that it is targeted to college students and new grads and those who are looking for internships or early career positions. So in addition to the About Us, there's actually a questions and answers feature, which are actually questions that are posed by other students or candidates and are answered by recruiters from those companies and organizations, as well as students who may have already interned or worked at that organization. And some of the questions that are asked are really, I think, key into doing some of that job research. Like, for example, for KLA, one of the questions was, what's upper management like, and how do they support candidates? How is compensation determined? Why would you recommend working at this organization? So that's great feedback. And of course, the jobs that are currently posted. So if you want to apply immediately, you can do so. Okay, step 3, you've done your research, you've got some good data points, but now you need to kind of marry that with what you are offering and how you can kind of make those connections for an employer pretty concisely and in a short period of time. So we're going to go over some key components that can help you tailor your introduction or your professional pitch. First thing, what is your major? What are you studying? What are your interests, whether both career and personal? So in the field, but also extracurricular activities. What position are you specifically looking for? Is it an internship? Is it full-time? In what area? Is it marketing? Is it communications? Is it engineering? Any related experience that you have that could match what the employer is seeking in that type of position. And this is the skills and qualifications section of the job descriptions. It does not have to be professional work if you haven't worked in the industry yet. It doesn't have to be internship experience. If you have that, that's wonderful. But class projects, part-time work, and volunteer work also count. Employers do value those experiences, so you can highlight those as well. Thinking about how do you fit with this particular company, that goes back to the values and mission and vision of the organization. And then why do you want to work there, right? If everyone else is applying, what is it about your perspective or why you're interested in this particular organization? And that helps you stand out from the crowd as well. So here's an example. This is Dia. So she basically answered these questions in very short, concise answers to start building what she thinks the content of her story is going to look like. So for her major, she's a marketing major. Her interests include social media, digital marketing, pinning recipes on Pinterest because she loves to cook. So that is a mix of some of her career interests plus personal interests, but it makes her interesting and well-rounded. And pinning recipes on Pinterest is also using social media, a platform or an area that she's interested in going into for marketing. Desired position, social media or marketing internship. Related experience, she came up with being a member of the marketing club, doing a lot of collaboration or collaborative work, especially now in a virtual environment for course and class projects, and then organize some social media campaigns for the club. So around membership and increasing membership. And then how do you fit or why do you want to work here? What's important to you? Dia loves to figure out ways to connect people with interesting technologies, and the employers that she's interested in value innovation and positive customer outcomes or experiences. So that's a really good start. And even if she just had these bullet points in front of her, these are good reminders of what she'd like to speak to in her introduction. Now let's look at an example. So we'll start with a student named Andrew and how a potential pitch or introduction might go with the recruiter. And remember, this will be happening via Zoom or a chat feature where you're talking into a camera. So making sure that as you're delivering your message that you may not have direct feedback, you'll probably have to get most of your statement out and then wait for a response from the recruiter. So Andrew starts, "Hi, I'm Andrew, it's nice to meet you." Recruiter answers, "Hi Andrew, it's nice to meet you too. Thanks for scheduling a session with me today. I'm an economics and statistics major and I'm really interested in using data analytics and applying it to specifically to marketing. In the classroom, I've been working a lot with data ranging from heart rates all the way to median household value. I've crunched and cleaned data, which allows me to also make predictions based off of those results. I have a lot of experience in the classroom, but I want to look for an internship this summer to get more hands-on experience in a professional setting. I know Amazon does a lot of data analytics and applying it to marketing to optimize the user experience. And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about your internship program. Wow, that's great experience. And yes, we definitely are recruiting for interns with analytics skills. I see you uploaded your resume on Handshake. And can you tell me a little bit more about the projects that you've listed? So in this scenario, Andrew did a great job of just highlighting some of those key components that we mentioned in the slide before, but allowing the recruiter to get enough information to then guide the rest of the conversation. Okay, next step, you have your pitch or your conversation starter, you know what you're gonna say, and now it's time to actually attend the fair. So this is the day of the fair. And this is actually what it'll look like when you log into your session. So you will be the student. This is actually a screenshot from the Handshake platform. Your name will be on there as well as your university, and then the recruiter will pop up in the smaller window. So you can see the background, that you clearly see, you know, your face, your nonverbals, so that's really important. And then of course there'll be a chat feature in which you can Q&A and dialogue. In this case, the chat feature is being used in a group session, but in the individual one-on-one sessions, you won't necessarily need to use a chat feature. You'll talk directly through the audio and mic in your system. So top tips for the fair. Absolutely set up your virtual studio ahead of time. Okay, this includes where you're gonna sit, that you have a clean and quiet space, that you have a background area that is either uncluttered or professional looking. It can be as simple as having like a few paintings in the background. If you're in a situation where there's just like you're working out of a closet, then use a virtual background, and you can upload a kind of a standard virtual background that's not too busy. You know, something with like a bookcase behind you, or, you know, kind of a neutral wall behind you, so that the focus is really on your face and your expressions. Also make sure that you have a lamp or some lighting from kind of behind the computer facing your face as you look into the screen, so that you have good lighting, mostly to ensure that the employer can see you and your facial expressions. We talk some issues with lighting. So if you have too much lighting behind you, that's called being backlit. If you don't have enough lighting and there's just a lot of shadows, it's hard to kind of see expressions. If you've got too much lighting in your face, you can look overblown or kind of washed out. And then if there's just not enough lighting, then again, you can be underlit. So this is just some things that you want to practice and set up your studio, so to speak, before the actual session. It's important to dress and groom professionally. This is still a professional conversation. Treat it just like you would an interview, even though it's on Zoom. I know a lot of us have gotten used to like professional on top, or you know, shorts on the bottom or casual on the bottom. You know, I'll leave that discretion up to you, but I will say that getting fully dressed professionally does also help for your mental state and putting you into a situation where you feel confident and can definitely engage as if you're in an interview situation. Nonverbal cues are super important in a virtual Zoom environment. You're going to want to look directly into the camera, even if it's uncomfortable when you're answering questions, because data and research and science shows that actually in a virtual environment, when someone is looking directly at you, it actually draws the other person in or keeps them engaged. Waving when you say hello, we can't like necessarily shake hands in a virtual environment. So if you wanted to say hello or wave and smile, that's totally appropriate for your introduction. Again, the facing the camera, looking into the camera, this is kind of the version of what an employer might see from their end. So this is a good kind of professional dress, looks confident, looking in the camera, you know, keeping your hands, you know, crossed, or asking the employer if you can take notes during the session, just so that they know that you're kind of tracking some ideas and paying attention, not necessarily just doodling while they're talking. And then prepare and practice common interview questions. At the end of this session, we'll talk about the resources on our website. We have an interview guide as well as an interview app that you can use to record yourself answering various questions and actually seeing what you look like on camera. And then take notes for your follow-up after your conversations. Again, if you're going to take them during the session, just ask the employer if they mind if you take some notes while they're having a conversation so that they know that you're actually paying attention, or if you prefer to just really be engaged after the session is over, then jot your notes before moving on to the next session. Don't want to spend too much time on professional dress, but a lot of students will still ask, what exactly is considered professional dress? Any one of these versions would work, as far as anything from business casual, which is kind of on the left-hand examples there for women. Men can, have business casual as well. And then the bottom image is more of the formal, business formal. Probably not going to be business formal in any of your virtual meetings. So business casual will probably be the most comfortable in this situation. Then again, if you feel really confident and that's who you are, wearing, a really crisp suit, or you're a sharp dresser and that's part of your personality, feel free to do that, because that is part of who you are and how you present. Once you start your session, our team is here to support you. That's all of us. So even though we won't be there live, we're going to be online, ready to answer any questions as you need. Make sure you log in 15 minutes before your first chat time. Check and test your equipment. Does the audio work? Is everything plugged in? Are you have a power source? Is your internet working? Reminding the people in your household, I'm about to go into an interview. Please keep it quiet if possible. Be aware of your mute features. We all know, there's been a lot of examples of you're in a meeting and someone doesn't turn off their mute and they're trying to talk. The same thing is true of when you're in a group session. It's always safe to keep your mute on when you enter. The employer might be giving an overview, and then turn off your mute when it's time to ask some questions. If reps don't use their video option, it's really still best for you to keep your camera on, because of that experience of trying to get to know you and see your nonverbals and see who you are as you're talking. So really you don't get a good sense of a person if you're just looking at maybe a screenshot or a photo image or a still image. Keep your camera on. You'll introduce yourself as you've practiced, and then you'll go into your approach or your conversation starter. If something happens for whatever reason, you're not sure what's going on, you have technical issues, you have to cancel for whatever reason, please connect with us on our live chat. So if you go to sjsu.edu/career center, that's our website. The minute you go onto our website on the day of the fairs, you will see a little icon that looks like this call out icon, and it has 3 dots after it. If you click on that, you can type in any question and one of us will be on the other end ready to answer it. So use the live chat during the fair if you run into any issues whatsoever. And then just a reminder of job fair etiquette. It's still a professional event. We know that everyone has had bizarre situations working and learning from home. We know that we're all in shared spaces. So I think there's a lot of flexibility and understanding, but at the same time, there's an expectation that you can be professional in this environment, because most employers, if they're hiring right now, are not going to be able to onboard you in person. You'll be starting the internship or job most likely in a virtual environment. So it's really critical that an employer feels trust and your professionalism and judgment of etiquette online. So we talked about having a quiet space, be common courtesy, polite, kind to everyone that you chat with, using polite language, maintaining a pleasant, calm behavior. There is a student code of conduct in case, if there's any situation in which a student is really inappropriate. We've worked through a lot of the technical issues for Zoom bombing, all of that. So that really shouldn't be an issue for you to worry about, but just a reminder that this is a professional event. Also, when your time is over with an employer and the session ends, then the session's over. There's not really a way to continue that conversation. Really important before the end of your 10-minute session to ask how you can best continue to connect with that employer and follow up. So whether that's connecting with them on LinkedIn or if they share their email, that's the time that you can add some more information if you didn't get through everything you wanted to highlight. And really important, if you cannot make your appointment for any reason, and we understand that emergencies happen, things come up, please go into Handshake and cancel your session. One, that's helpful for the employer so they don't feel like when they log into your session that they've been stood up. And two, it actually will then create an opportunity for another student. So if you have to cancel last minute and there's a student who hasn't been able to get in, once you cancel, that will reopen that slot and someone else can be able to meet with that employer. And then the final tip, follow up and connect after the fair. So after the fair, one of the easiest things to do is go back into LinkedIn, look up the person that you met with, and then hit the connect button. But before you connect, there's an option to add a message. So here you'll see is message optional. Absolutely write a message, because when you send out a connection without a message and that employer or recruiter has met with a lot of students, they may not remember exactly who you were or why you want to connect with them. So this is an example of a person at Apple, a senior recruiter that, let's say, I had connected with at the STEM career fair, and you can have 300 words in your message. So it can be as simple as, Dear Lynn, it was a pleasure meeting with you at the SJSU STEM career fair. I wanted to stay connected given our conversation on your needs for an analytics intern and my experience with data crunching and prediction. So I'm being very specific about my skill sets and what we talked about in this conversation. I submitted my resume via Handshake, so then a nod to where she can find my resume again, and I look forward to hearing from you. And that's it. And what you'll do is you'll send the same types of messages to all of those people that you connected with. So we talked about taking notes so that it'll stay fresh in your mind. Definitely follow up. If you don't use LinkedIn, you can also send a thank you via email. Post-fair, keep track of your follow-up activities. You can create a simple grid, but if you meet with a lot of employers, you're going to forget, wait, what, did I already outreach to that person? Did I send an email? When did I send that email? Should I reach out again? So this is a good way to just keep track of the messaging that you've sent. Absolutely continue checking the job listings on Handshake. You know, employers, if they're not able to come to a recruiting event, are definitely posting positions online, and there are a lot of opportunities now for remote internships and work. And once you accept an offer, it's always good practice to stop the interviewing process with other employers. So once you make a commitment and then you're ready to go, then the added stress of continuing the interview and job search can end, and it will allow you to kind of move forward with the regular life and studies. If you continue interviewing and you're looking at a situation where you might have competing offers, before you renege on a job offer or pick another job offer, please reach out to our team so we can have a one-on-one session with you to best talk about strategies for negotiation. And then remember, the job fair is just one of many ways to connect with employers. That events tab in Handshake has a listing of all types of connecting events beyond just job fairs. So you can connect with recruiters, actively network, and learn about specific companies or industries that are hosting panels, information sessions, and a lot of employers who may not actively attend certain fairs do post a lot of events that they're hosting just for their company. So Google, PwC, HP, Microsoft, City of San Jose, Kaiser, a lot of those companies have been featured in our events section as well. So do check that out. And then finally, for our resources, if you go to our website, sjsu.edu/career center, and then click on the resources tab, you will find all of these resources that I'll be referencing. The first one is VMOC, vmoc.com/sjsu. This is your online resume critique platform. So if you want to upload your resume and get instant feedback from everything from grammar, punctuation, formatting, and even writing strong statements based on your industry, this platform will do it for you in a few seconds. So definitely upload a resume there, get it critiqued, and make those changes before you upload your resume to Handshake for the fairs. We have a job and internship guide that talks about specific strategies in addition to networking, which we didn't get into too deeply in this webinar. So that's a good resource. Resume and cover letter if you're really wanting to do some additional work there. And preparation for interviews. We also have an interview guide that has those common interview questions that you can practice. And then the big interview app, which is allows you to practice virtual interviews with industry specific questions. You can record yourself and also send those recordings to your career counselor, your professors, your mentors, or peers to get feedback on, you know, how you answered questions, what did you look like, all of that. So these are great resources to keep using. Again, if you just go to our website and click on the resources tab, you will find all of these resources. And finally, we want to ensure that this was helpful to you. I thank you for taking the time to review it. If you have feedback or you'd like to provide and answer a quick survey, please go to this link. It's just a bit.ly/CCSJSU interacting. And you will also be entered in a raffle to win a $20 Amazon gift card. So that's always helpful. And then I want to thank you for your time and wishing you the best of luck at the career fairs. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. You can email us at careerhelp.sjsu.edu.